West kind of said something that was a little bit explosive. He said, look, no disrespect to Dirk, but Luka is going to be better than Dirk.
You know what? I got a lot of respect for Jerry West.
Everybody
because,
does.
You know, what he's been accomplished in the league, he's the logo, he's been a GM all over the place, turned programs around. But that right there, because Dirk is one of my all-time favorite players. It's going to take a lot for him to surpass Dirk in Dallas. Now, he's off to a great start. We know that. He's scoring, passing. Now, skill-wise, yeah, but we all know Dirk was a winner for a very long time. So, I don't know. I pump my brakes on that one.
No, and that's my thing. Is like, look, even especially with today's media. And
30-plus thousand points.
Like, highest ever for a American-born player. The thing about it, Luka is special. He is off to a start that is compared to LeBron James, like better than Magic Johnson, that type of start. He's winning in the Western Conference, leading his team to the postseason. But when we start talking about greatness, greatness is not defined by one game or 1 year. It's defined by 10 years, by 15 years. So he's got a long way to go. I just think, to me, if this is his starting point at 20, what on earth is this boy going to be at 25?
But sometimes we become a prisoner of the moment. I mean, right now, he's dominant. But how many times do we go into a season, first 10, 15 games, we got like 25 MVP candidates.
Yeah.
And then by the end of
were good to start the season.
And then by the end of the season, they're nowhere to be found. So we have to see over the course of longevity with Luka. So when it's 6th, 7th, 8th year, if he's still doing these same things, then you could be like,
and look, Stephen A. brought up a very good point. Is like, look, Luka's got to improve defensively, right? We're not going to just talk about how
Dirk wasn't a defensive genius.
And the other part about it is that when we look at these numbers, one of the things that people criticize James Harden for is he has these amazing regular season numbers. So now Luka's going to have an opportunity to be dominant in the postseason. So he's going to have to show this in the postseason. That man starts doing that, and then it's going to be a problem for everybody.
That's it right there.
Who would you rather have, Luka or Harden?
I got Harden right now. Luka doesn't have a bigger sample size right now. He hasn't been to the playoffs. I mean, it's great in regular season, but I got Harden right now.
Right now. Okay, that's fair. I did bring up the point that I'm taking Luka the next 10 years over Giannis.
That's a tough one. I don't know. Yeah, he's 20. He's 24.
Somebody in my ear just asked me a really dumb question, like, what would you trade Luka for? And that's so dumb because there's nothing that I would trade him for.
There's nothing right now I would trade Luka Doncic for. No.
No. Giannis maybe. Giannis maybe.
No way.
That's what I'm saying. I said
gotta
maybe.
Give me
I'm
Ben
not trading
Simmons
him
and Joel Embiid for Luka Doncic.
I'm not taking both of those for Luka.
What?
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't take them two for
because
one?
Both of those players have legitimate holes in their game. Luka has a complete offensive game.
Wow.
We know what Ben Simmons' problems they are. We know what Joel Embiid's issues are.
I can't wait. We're going to see.
I'm going to be real. That's no disrespect to any of these players. I'm just saying, like, if
Tatum and Brown for Luka.
No.
Wow. Oh,
this man's averaging a 30-point triple-double at 20.
I'm out, y'all. I can't take this. That's
the end of the show.
Hey, you talk about falling all the time. You will look at a game and just evaluate the potential for you to fall, and then just be like, no, I'm going to sit this one out.
Correct. Now, you just saw that play.
Yep.
Okay. Now, that was actually the best case scenario. As crazy as it sounds. He didn't hit his shoulder.
Break a wrist.
He didn't hit his elbow. He didn't fall on his wrist. He didn't fall directly on his knee. He didn't twist his leg when he fell based on the impact.
Though.
That's as clean as that could have been. Because if that right foot catch any before he hits the ground, he also tears up his knee.
That's a good point.
And so I felt actually happy for them that this was the scenario because it's a back bruise. It's not a spine injury. He's going to miss some games. But the key person that this is going to impact is Kyle Kuzma.
Oh.
Because when you hear your name in trade rumors, that works two ways. Take it for somebody who's been traded a couple of times. And actually, a couple of those times, I was happy when I got traded. It ain't always a bad thing. He now gets to play his value for the Lakers to potentially shop him and for him to be ready to go ball somewhere else.
Yeah, well, even if he stays on the Lakers, it'll be nice for him to just put up a couple 30-point games, maybe get in the starting lineup. That's interesting. Good read on that one, Jalen Rose. And then there's also some other AD news, and it's not that unexpected, but it's still noteworthy. He was offered a max contract from
I'll take it.
Lakers.
Oh, he ain't a free agent yet.
No.
That's an extension.
He declined.
Oh, got it. Makes sense.
He declined.
Makes
and
sense.
he said he's going to enter free agency. Now, with all of the assets that the Lakers did, traded to bring him in, with him being a Clutch Sports client, it really seems like he's going to re-sign with the Lakers. So why not just get it done?
You love this sport so much that you pray to a Larry Bird poster every day before you hooped. Mm-hmm. Okay, I felt the same way about Magic Johnson. I sat with an agent one time in my life. It was like, I'd rather be a free agent. I tested free agency to try to get the max, and it worked. You don't think he gonna do it?
Well, he's gonna get the max. He's gonna get the max. I feel like, to me, it might be just a play to sort of like let the organization know that I'm not committing to you until I have to.
No. What I just said went over your head. Instead of me signing an extension, I tested free agency so that I could get the max. When you're Anthony Davis, that's the difference between signing 4 years and having this year. That's why the word extension is up there. Mm-hmm. Versus a clean slate in 5 years, and we could go over $200 million. Oh, and by the way, you got to keep your options open in case anything happens. LeBron is in his 17th year. You do see him playing at a high level. You do want to continue to be in purple and gold, but you know what else you see? You remember the day that he was wearing that headband earlier in the year. You told him it's affecting your hair.
You keep bringing this up.
It's affecting you, dog, and he stopped wearing it. In post-game, I saw him yesterday interviewing the court. He's like, I'm going to put this towel on. I'm going to keep it crisp. Post-game, I'm going to rock a hat. So AD knows that he's playing with a gentleman also in his mid-30s, is my point.
Okay.
And so you want to make sure this thing plays out and he's healthy, you're healthy, then you get your 5-year deal in off-season.
I think that's fair. Well, moving on. The Grizzlies beat the Timberwolves last night, which is noteworthy.
Davis missed a couple of games. Then he showed up at Lambeau to cheer on his Packers. He's from Chicago,
I know.
though. That's weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
And LeBron spent Sunday with Bad Bunny at Calabash here in L.A. after resting due to illness on Saturday. Kyle Kuzma, though, used that opportunity the last 2 games to show the world he could still score. First with 26 on Friday night in Dallas and 36 in OKC. Here's Kuzma explaining his motivations.
Everybody on the team has something to prove. AD's trying to win a race myself. Just down the line, Dwight, redemption. Everybody's got something to prove. So, we don't take these games lightly. And, obviously we haven't had many because Brian and AD have been pretty healthy for the majority of the year. But, we're just a tight-knit group, and we want to go out and dominate every game. We don't see why we can't win every game. So.
All right, so there's been a lot of talk about Kyle Kuzma, whether his role with the particular team or if he's going to be traded. Does this alter any of his future with the Lakers, Clinton? We'll start with you.
I think it does. For the past week, y'all have been trying to run this guy out of town.
Who's y'all?
All last season, all I heard was, off season was, everybody can go except Kuz. Everybody can go except Kuz. Now, Kuz had to go. He has a couple good games, and it's like, wait, maybe that was a bad idea. Look, I understand that with AD not on the floor, Kuz is a better player. But as far as I'm concerned, why do you have 4 former head coaches on the bench if you can't figure out a way to get this guy involved in your offense without getting rid of him? Danny Green's out. Maybe you swap those guys in the starting lineup. I think that this team gets better through Kuzma improving, not through dealing him. And that's what they've showed over this past weekend. You got to find a way to do this. He's too athletic of a player in order to just jettison him and think you're going to get better by default.
Look, I mean, this is what we thought Kyle Kuzma was. Kyle Kuzma is a scorer. He is a guy who can carry a team offensively when you need him to be. He just needs to do that consistently.
Right.
And I think that's been the issue with the Lakers all year long, which is they need an anchor on that second unit. They need a guy who can hold leads when LeBron and AD need to take a rest. He hasn't done that consistently. I always have to point out he has been hurt for a lot of this year, and when he does come back, you got to give him some time to get back into rhythm, and you got to give him some time to be in that, to find his spot in the lineup. But I think this is always what Kyle's been, and if he can continue to be that, they don't need to look elsewhere for somebody in that role.
To your point, they need kind of what the Clippers have, and they have their own issues, but with Lou and Montrez coming off the bench, that's some real punch there. And look, I want to give Kyle a lot of credit because Kuz has dealt with some stuff here. The changes in the rotation, right? His injuries. it's not easy for a young guy, and yes, he's still young, to have to deal with some of the stuff he's dealing with. And look, there's been some outside stuff, right? Like the trainer stuff that was out there. Yeah, that didn't help any of the cause, right, for sure. So I just feel like he has handled himself very well, and he's showing them, yeah, you probably should keep me because they do need that kind of guy. They can trade for Robert Covington or any of these guys, but I don't think any of them bring exactly what Kuzma brings, which is what they really need.
Well, they kept him for a reason, right? I mean, they traded almost all their other young players, all their young core, and they fought to keep Kyle Kuzma. I think because they understand the maturity this guy has. They understand he can. They feel like he can handle the pressure of playing with LeBron. That he can translate onto a championship level team. He's not just a young guy on a championship team. He is a little bit older because he's been in college for a while. And I remember last year when all the trade rumors about Anthony Davis were going around, swirling around that Laker locker room. Not everybody handled that well, right? I mean, not all those players. You know, I would have players coming up to me.
Don't baby them, Ramona. Right? Remember Magic said, don't baby them.
Players would literally come up to us asking, hey, what do you hear? What do you hear? Kuz was calling Kobe Bryant.
Right.
And Kobe Bryant's message to Kuz, and I remember talking to both of them about this, was it's Anthony Davis. You can't take that personally. He's that good. Right. And you just have to block that out and play your game and give them a reason to keep you. Get competitive about it. He did that. I think that the Lakers noticed how well he handled that, and that's one of the reasons why they kept him for this spot now.
Great stuff. So, look, we talked about the Clippers a second ago. Let's move on and turn our attention down the hall to